You'll see the arrow pointing to that line of trees there, and that appears to be the track bed, the old line that came in from Kirkby, Warcop, then went underneath ours and over towards the West Coast main line on a bit of route that is now occupied by the A66.
Northern service to Carlisle. The next stop is Langworthby.
As we leave Appleby station, you'll see the arrow pointing to those trees there. That's where the station building still stands, and I believe the platform too. That was Appleby East Station. The track over the level crossing has been tarmacked over but could be reinstated, and here you see the lines going off behind the signal box. That was a link which British Railways put in to enable military trains to get to the depot at Warcop. It went off behind, just in front of that line of houses there, and that's where it seems to disappear now, but in amongst those trees it formed like a long siding where you then reversed up the branch to Warcop.
The northern service to Carlisle. The next stop is Lazenby and Kirkoswald.
Now I need to talk to you about the church that you see on top of the hill as we approach the station. All is not as it seems. There was an ancient church here, but that is St Nicholas Church, dating to 1864. The Saxon cross, again, not as old as you might think. It stands out though, doesn't it? That was actually erected in 1902 by the then canon of the church to celebrate his 25 years, Canon Wilson I think his name was, celebrate 25 years as rector.
Please report it to a member of staff or the British Transport Police. We hope you've enjoyed travelling with Northern today.
But just before we pull into Carlisle at the end of the journey, I thought I'd just throw in a few stills here, just to remind you of some of the lovely scenery that we've passed through on the journey. I'm ever so sorry that Class 158 unit and the type of windows here and the dirt on the windows hasn't really been able to do it justice, but I hope I've managed to share with you what I've seen and what I've felt and a little bit of extra information. And here we are, Carlisle. Who'd have thought it, eh? Carlisle, looking a bit scruffy thanks to Network Rail's usual efficiency in clearing the track, but just time for a quick bit of filming. Well, I found myself with time to spare in Carlisle. And it's so often the case, as soon as I stop, somebody wants to come and stand next to me. Now I'm pretty sure the station was known as Carlisle Citadel at one time, and I wonder if I'm looking at the Citadel now. I'll go over and have a look in a minute, but the architecture of Carlisle Station. Rather shabby. And difficult to read the coats of arms. London and North Western Railway Company. On the main route from Euston to Glasgow. With a bit of maintenance, it could be quite an imposing station again. And the tower up there. I had to come back outside because we had to meet the party, so no opportunity to go back for more filming on the station, but let's have a look and see what that is. It's interesting over there. And that chimney, I wonder what that's from. Quite a survivor, that. Turns out to be two buildings, not the one that I thought it was. And there's a memorial in front of that one. Statue. I'll go and take a closer look at that in a minute. That's the one. And you pan round, there's the other. They've both got gates through them. So are they the remnants of city walls? Let's go and find out. I mean, costers get everywhere, don't they? And you can see the top of the overall roof at the station as I pan round. Well, this is the Citadel, courthouses, and I've got a still here, so I can let you read that for a couple of seconds. Well, while you have a look at this, at this point, my camera decided that its battery had had enough. It had been used for 2 days and just gave up the ghost, so I needed to charge it up, which meant that the rest of my time in Carlisle I was unable to film, which was perhaps just as well because I made a mistake and thinking that's where the history would be, I headed for the city centre. Unfortunately, I was to be disappointed. Sorry, I've got a good friend, Robert Croser, who lives near Carlisle. I had hoped to meet him on this occasion, but circumstances transpired against us, and I know he loves the area, but I found Carlisle city centre very disappointing. I couldn't see any real history there. What I did find though was loads and loads of young people spilling out of every single eating joint you could find. Greggs, McDonald's and others are available, but rather more sadly for me, out of the 2 or 3 vaping places there were they were queuing up, loads of them. And I'm not at all convinced about the safety of vaping. It's not e-cigarettes, it's some liquid containing Lord knows what. Anyway, I digress. I was rather sad for them that they got to that state. But I have since learned that there is a historic quarter in Carlisle, and if I'd have carried on walking past these walls and straight on round the corner, I would have found it. So it's something to think about. If I ever get to Carlisle again, I will certainly go and have a look at that. I would not want to get a wrong impression of Carlisle, but certainly the modern, in inverted commas, city centre very sadly did nothing for me. Oh well. So Carlisle, that was it, and from then on it was off to our hotel at Grange-over-Sands, and as this video is a little bit on the short side, I think we'll go down and have a few photographs from the hotel just to complete our second day of travelling before we see what else we can discover. Well, for this last segment of the film, I make no apologies. I've pinched some of what I filmed last year on our overnight stop because I think it serves to emphasise again the rather difficult way to get a coach into the hotel if you're coming from the sort of M6 end. We have to literally go into Grange-over-Sands station and turn round and head back out the other way because the turn is just too sharp. You might recall seeing on my video last year when we turned into here, we were talking about the cockle pickers that were very sadly killed in Morecambe Bay because they just didn't understand the speed with which the tides turn. It's funny how far the water goes out on Morecambe Bay and it comes in just as quick. So a little bit later on I'll be having a closer look at that park, so it's not just a fleeting glimpse as it was this time last year. We'll be back up here to have a closer look during the course of this series of videos I'm doing on this holiday. But I just wanted to, for those who hadn't yet seen anything to do with it, just to show you where the hotel is roughly and how nice and secluded it is. And here we're standing at the top of the drive. That's basically the only way in and out. You have to take it very carefully. They've got lovely woodland walks here that you can go through if the weather's quite nice, very pleasant, and some lovely gardens. And well, actually it's quite good that I put this one in because looking at the colour you can see just how nice it is during the height of the summer. We were here in September, so when you see the 1 or 2 little clips I've got from this year later on, you'll be able to contrast the seasons, which may not be such a bad thing. I tried to get a view through the trees onto the other side of Morecambe Bay, but you never work with children, animals and technical things because they usually let you down somewhere or another. And what a lovely photograph of something grey behind the branches. Couldn't write the script, could you? So anyway, we're walking a little bit further up now, and in a moment I'll pan over again and we'll actually be looking towards Ironside, which is at the top end of Morecambe Bay. Very grand building, this hotel, as it is called the Grand Hotel. I'll tell you a bit more about that later on. I won't spoil it for now. I have double checked on what I've recorded. There is more to say, and I will say it later. But for now we'll leave it with this view towards Arnside and some lovely colours in the garden. Only a short video this one, but I think it finishes off the visit to the Settle and Carlisle quite nicely, and we'll see you again soon.